are the full Microsoft BI stack: SSIS, SSRS, SSAS, MDS, Performance Point, Power BI, Datazen. We're also familiar with the third-party tools and we work with Tableau, ClickView, MicroStrategy, Business Objects, Pentaho, Domo. And now we will start with the overview of Datazen, and Jose will take it from here.
All right, thanks for the introduction, Mac. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing is we're going to start just talking about what is Datazen, and have some agenda bullet points here. So we're going to talk about what is Datazen, where did it came from, how does it fit in the Microsoft BI stack, the different components to Datazen, server, viewer, and publisher. And then at the end, we're going to do a quick demo on how to create a simple dashboard with cascading selection list and a little bit of a drill through action. And we're going to show how the KPIs work as well once they're deployed. So first thing first, what is Datazen? So Datazen is a visualization tool for displaying dashboards and KPIs. It was a new player in the visualization space, and that gained a lot of traction because of their cross-platform design approach. Meaning, they're one of the tools that you can really easily create, design a dashboard for the desktop and be able to deploy it the same look and feel to any mobile device, tablet device with minimal effort. And it's considered one of the first or one of the pioneer mobile-ready tools, visualization tools out there in the BI space. One of the great benefits of Datazen is that it allows you to do quick prototyping, and it introduces a new paradigm, which is known as the design first versus the usual existing paradigm, which is the data first. Meaning, with Datazen, you're able to do a mock-up of how the dashboard looks with a true functionality that you expect out of it. And then you simply attach the data set that needs to feed those visualizations. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. I'm going to show you in the demo how you can actually mock up a very nice looking dashboard and then be able to export the structure needed to support those dashboards. And you can hand that off to IT, to your ETL developers, your data warehouse developers, and they will create a table or a view with the exact same structure that Datazen provides, and that you just need to fit into the dashboard. So it's a really nice paradigm, a new approach to designing dashboard, because we know if you have already worked on a data warehouse or BI solution or project before, 80% of the time is spent on validating business rules, creating ETLs, and essentially putting the structure, the data in the structure so that you can consume that data later. And then the 20% is actually designing the report, designing the dashboards. So this is a paradigm shift. You first design the dashboard, and then you create the structure, generate the structures needed to feed those dashboards. So it's a really cool new approach to visualization. Another great benefit about Datazen is that, like I mentioned before, it's a quick cross-platform visualization tool. It is very easy to design a dashboard that will fit and look and interact nicely in your PC or laptop, but also able to get that same user experience in your mobile devices, on your tablets, smartphones, etc., with minimal effort. Very easy to simply recreate or rearrange the dashboard you created for your desktop to be viewed easily, displayed easily into a mobile device, a smartphone or a tablet. And it is HTML5 compliant, so it is compatible across many, many browsers and many, many devices because of that. So Datazen, was a third-party tool from an independent company that was acquired by Microsoft around April 2015. It originally started in 2002 as component art. And component art, if you were familiarized with application development, they provided very nice components and widgets with visualizations that you can embed in your custom .NET app and create a very nice BI application. But they realized that, hey, they created a really great visualization. Why not bundle them into a new product, into a product that they called back then Datazen. So it was acquired by Microsoft mainly because of the ability to deploy those dashboards easily to across mobile devices, which is what Microsoft was lacking in the BI space. And this was a strategy to be able to provide a solution for their customers to be mobile ready. Some of the great things about the acquisition is not only that it is now available as part of the Microsoft BI stack, but also the fact that they are using or reutilizing those visualizations, very nice visualizations, into the other part of the BI stack, including Power BI, Reporting Services 2016, and now also in Excel 2016. So a lot of these visualizations, rich interactivity is now built in the Power BI, Reporting Services 2016, and also Excel Professional in 2016. Now, why the big buzz about Datazen and why are we talking about this? So we titled this webinar, "The Tool That You Already Own." It really should be the tool that you might already own, because it is provided now for free by Microsoft. Free with an asterisk, of course, because it is free for any organization that has a licensing agreement with Microsoft for enterprise version of SQL Server and have an active Microsoft software assurance license. So for those of you who have this type of licensing, you should be able to download, install, and deploy Datazen without having to worry about additional licensing. Of course, you have to check with your licensing vendor to see what caveats are there in terms of your agreement. But for the most part, if you have enterprise version of SQL Server and you have an active software assurance subscription with Microsoft, you can use and deploy Datazen. So see, these are some of the new enhancements coming out of the Datazen acquisition. In Power BI, you can pin these reports directly into Power BI as part of your KPIs, and also mobile reports and dashboards. In Reporting Services 2016, a lot of the new visualizations and rich interactivity built in is coming from the Datazen product. So they incorporate all these nice visualizations in Reporting Services now, especially in the new application called Mobile Report Publisher, which will be out, I think it's already in release candidate 1. So if you download the preview version of SQL Server, make sure to install this new SSRS component and play with it. It's very, very similar, pretty much the same design experience as Datazen Publisher, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. Talking a little bit about the architecture. So this is a client-server type of application where we have a server that hosts all the metadata and connects you to the data sources. There is a publisher application that you will design your dashboards and reports. You will deploy them to the server, and then that server will make those dashboards available through the viewers. And those viewers can be your laptop, PC, desktop, your tablet, and your smartphone. This is a nice diagram that you can look up in the Datazen documentation. And one of the great things about Datazen is that it can integrate with Active Directory and authenticate your users using ADFS. That same integrated authentication will allow you to connect to SQL Server, relational database, OLAP, Microsoft Analytics Services, for the tabular mode as well, any flat files or drive, shared drives. And that will authenticate the user. If there is row-level security built into any of these sources, that will be passed through and available for you to design the dashboard using that data or to view that data through any of the viewers, your mobile devices or in your desktop device. When you install a Datazen server, a couple of things happen, but two things in particular that you may want to be aware is it creates two web applications in IIS, so it requires IIS to be installed. And it will install a web application that is designed for administrative purposes, which is called the control panel, and then the viewer web application, which is where users connect. This web application can be restricted to be only viewed internally, or it can be opened up through SSL, a secured port, to be accessible through the internet. So this is one of the great advantages of Datazen, that you can make it available internally only, or you can make it available externally without having to connect to a VPN or any other type of connection. You simply open your browser, point to a URL, and it will allow you to connect to your Datazen server through a secure port. This is a quick snapshot of how the control panel looks like, and I'm not going to go into the details, but essentially in the control panel, you as a Datazen administrator will create what are called hubs or data hubs. These data hubs are essentially silos of information where you can segregate data that should not be mixed or matched because of compliance restrictions. Also, if you want certain users to be able to see finance data, certain users to only see sales data, but not both, you can segregate them. You can create data hubs for different sales regions, for different countries, different, let's say, product categories if in the retail market, different facilities or hospitals if you're in the medical or healthcare field. And this allows you to segregate those data domains, restrict them to security, but also restrict crossing or mix and matching between different data hubs. Once you create a data hub, you can assign an owner to that data hub. Essentially, somebody within that department or division that will control who has access to that data and what data is made available to the users, both the designers of the dashboard, but also the consumers of those dashboards. Here you also define KPIs. So these are the relevant metrics that you want to track over time. And these is where the dashboards and data sources are made available as well. Then there's more administration sections here where you can configure authentication with Active Directory. You can create users, email templates when you're going to create notifications, branding, look and feel of the dashboards. You can create backups of the content and troubleshoot if there's any errors. You can see the logs and all that good stuff. This is more administrative backend stuff dedicated for IT. Now the Datazen viewer, as I mentioned, is made available through many platforms. One of them is the desktop, and this is more or less how it looks in the desktop view. And you can group your dashboards by relevant areas, data domains, or perhaps corporate level dashboards. Then you can group them into more divisional or territory type of dashboards. It allows you to organize those dashboards nicely, and also have a section dedicated for KPIs. And we're going to take a look at that in a little bit. The Datazen viewer also allows you to be downloaded as an application for Apple iOS, Android, Windows devices. And right now, if you want, you can actually go to Google Play or your App Store, or the Windows Store, look for the Datazen viewer and download it, and then we will do you will see some demos that are available from the Datazen website. It will be pre-configured with the Datazen demos URL, and user and password is Datazen. You connect to it, and you'll have all the nice interactivity on your phone right now without any delays. The third component to this is the publisher, like I mentioned. And this publisher app is an app that you have to download for your PC or mobile device. And it's compatible with Windows 7, Windows 8, 10, or later. Right now, it's only available on the Windows platform. Unfortunately, not available for iPad or Android that I'm aware of. But right now, it's mainly on the Windows platform. The nice thing about this is that not only you can develop design using your mouse, your laptop or PC, but you can actually use your Surface or any touchscreen Windows device and actually design some of these dashboards using your fingertip and your gestures. So it's a really great way of prototyping, like I mentioned. Maybe you need to sit with a manager, with your executive team, and kind of brainstorming and prototype how they want the dashboard to look. Where do they want their charts? Where do they want their pie charts, their donuts, their all the different visualizations available. Organize them, put them in a nice dashboard, and have them approve that, and then you go and just request the data to feed those dashboards right out of your tablet. Like I mentioned, the design paradigms, that one of the design paradigms that Datazen introduces was the data first versus design first. Typically, what you might be already familiarized with is this paradigm, which is data first, where you have to wait for data to be sourced, then structures in your data warehouse or data mart or ODS be created, ETLs, and then load the data, QA the data, and essentially put all the structure behind before you can even start consuming that data or even designing your dashboard or report. With Datazen, you can actually do the inverse. You can actually create a dashboard first, and then specify, it will create for you the schema, the structure needed in an Excel file that you can give to IT, and they will have to just create tables for you to use in your dashboard. We're gonna take a look at that really quick. All right, so it's time for demo. We wanted to leave enough time to do a quick demo. Before I go into a demo, is there any question, any comments so far? Max, is there anything?
No, nobody has any questions.
All right, I'm making myself clear. That's great, excellent. All right, so let me go into my remote desktop where I have Datazen running, Datazen server, and I have some of my data sets. Just to let you know, I decided to grab some data from the Medicare.gov site, specifically hospital compare data. And they have a lot of data sets that you can download, comma separated value, Excel, Access. And I chose to use a data set that compares hospitals across the United States for some of the hospital value-based purchasing metrics. And some of you might be familiar with those. If not, I mean, you can read about them here. But it's a way of comparing and grading some of the hospitals based on some of the efficiency, performance, etc. And also we have a data set that measures or provides data regarding the different complications most common reported most commonly by each of these hospitals. So we'll take a look at that and play with that data.
Jose,
yes.
We just got a question.
All right.
They're asking us if we're using the current version of Datazen or the 2016 version.
This is the current version. So let me clarify that. So if you go to Datazen.com, you can download Datazen, a trial from there. And that is the same version that is available through your MSDN subscription. So you can download like a trial version from here. It will be the same version that you will also see in your MSDN subscriptions page or site to download as part of your enterprise agreement and software assurance agreement. So it is the current version that is of Datazen. Now, what I mentioned about 2016 is that the new SQL Server 2016 version is coming out this year, probably in the next quarter or so. And the new version of reporting services in Excel have some of the visualizations that are available in the current version of Datazen. So Datazen is a separate download, it's a separate component, a different tool, separate from SQL that you can download and install in a server. It's a standalone service essentially, separate from SQL. It doesn't require SQL, it doesn't require Excel, but it can use them as sources. And also, a lot of the visualizations are now available through Reporting Services 2016 and Excel. What I'm going to show you right now is the actual product that you can download from your subscription. So it's a downloadable file that you will execute. It will prompt you for some settings, install it, and it will create, like I mentioned, a couple of web applications, and you can access it then through a web interface. Does that answer the question? All right. So what I want to show you is once you install Datazen, like I said, you define a port for the web application to work on. I decided to install it on port 8888. And I will log in now to my control panel. And I'm going to log in. Now I get the full control panel for the administrator account. It's the default account that has access to everything. And as you can see here, I already created a couple hubs. One of them is called the Medicare hub, which is going to be working with. Here I have all the administrative sections, but here at the bottom is where the magic happens. This is where you define things as a data hub owner. What can be exposed or available for your users. So right now I'm connecting to my Medicare hub, and I'm going to show you. We have two KPIs that we define, and we have several 3 dashboards that we're going to show. The most important thing that I want to show you is the data sources. You have to create data sources first in order for you to see data available for designer or to design the dashboard or to consume the data. I'm going to show you how it would look if you, I think I have a sales manager, actually a finance manager. And I think I have not defined anything for that user. Let's see. Maybe I didn't create it. Oh, I didn't. So right now I'm connected to the viewer. This is the desktop application viewer. And as you can see, as a finance manager, I have nothing. There's nothing for me to do because nothing has been granted to me. So if you get this blank page, that means that the user that you're connecting with does not have anything available for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect instead with my admin account, which has access to everything, of course. And I'm going to connect to my viewer. And you can see that as an admin, a user that has access to pretty much everything, I will now have access to the dashboards and KPIs. So there's a lot of granularity in terms of the security available with Datazen, either through ADFS or Active Directory or through forms we have configured right now. So now that I'm connected to the viewer. As you can see, this is the viewer, and I'm also connected to the control panel, which you can see is /CP. So all different views. Viewer is for consuming the data essentially. And as you can see, we have 2 KPIs and we have 3 dashboards. So I want to start with the KPI section. Let's say I am a executive, part of the executive team, or director, sales manager, and I have several KPIs that might be in this dashboard, in this page for me. And I can see really quick that we have a KPI that tracks our score for patient experience, and also a KPI for tracking our clinical process efficiency. And I can see that we're doing well here. We're actually 7% above our target, which is really great. And in here, we can see that we are 39% below our goal. Here we have a trend line that tells you how are we trending. And in the last couple of months, we had a big decline on our score for clinical process. Compared to our patient experience, we can see a trend of going upward. So we're doing great with patient experience, but we're not doing so great with our processes. Our processes are still inefficient. This is big in Medicare because you can lose funding or because of these scores not being where they need to be. So of course, as a executive team member, I need to track this. So let's try to understand what is influencing and who are influencing this negative score. So I can click on the KPI and we can define dashboards that correlate or relate to the KPI we're tracking. So here I can have one or more or many dashboards that will provide somebody that wants to derive insight what is driving that negative score. So right now we have a simple dashboard called the patient experience and clinical process scores dashboard. And I want to click on it and you'll see the dashboard that we have prepared as part of the demo. And then we're going to jump on the other dashboard that we're actually going to try to reproduce. So here, this dashboard is designed to give me everything. And as you can see, there might be some correlations or maybe not that you can derive from each score. You would think that as your clinical processes improve, your patient experience should improve as well. But we're not seeing that. We're seeing that there's really no correlation. But let's try to understand what facility. Let's say we manage hospitals around the states, and we want to see who's driving these negative numbers. And let's say that I'm responsible. I'm a regional manager. That I'm responsible for my Florida area, Florida region, Southeast, and specifically I want to see my Florida hospitals that we manage. So I'm going to click on Florida. As you can see, now everything's filtered for Florida hospitals only. Then I can drill down and say, from Florida, I only want to see my Tampa Bay hospitals. So I'm going to choose Tampa. Now again, I see that this filter down. And that will further drill down my available hospitals that I can see. And I want to see, and perhaps I want to check these 3 hospitals side by side. I want to see which one of them. Let's add these 4. Actually, let's remove one. There we go. The reason I did that is because the Datazen viewer will actually add or remove the categories here below, so you can see which one corresponds to whom. So in this case, I can see that my Florida hospital, Carrollwood, is doing really great scores on both sides. But my Memorial Hospital is doing really bad on the patient experience. So is doing the Tampa Community Hospital. And my Florida hospital overall is doing not so great, but it's kind of up to par. So let's try to figure out what's happening here. What are the actual numbers? If I click here, it will show me, will send me to a drill through report that will allow me to see some of the statistics in more detail about that hospital. So I can see the scores for both clinical process and patient experience, the current score, and we're looking at 2014 data, so that's the current year for this example. And we have a comparison here versus 2013. How are we doing on 2013 versus 2014? And we're seeing that there's some improvement. There's an 8% improvement on my clinical process, and I have a 28% improvement on my patient experience. So we have improved quite a bit in that regards. And there are then some other indicators that I may add if needed. I can also say, well, I just don't only want to see that hospital. I want to see all hospitals and see where my negative indicators are. And bam, I can see right here, my Tampa Community Hospital and my Memorial Hospital of Tampa, we're doing actually below what we were doing last year. So services and experience has degraded on both. Sorry. So I can take further action. I can contact my hospital administrators or representatives. I can say, hey, what's going on in that hospital? Why are we so low in patient experience? Yet our processes have improved, but these numbers are going down. So this is just a quick example of how we can go from a report and drill down into the data. And we can also click there and we can see the actual data points available. All right. So that is a quick example, like I said, that I wanted to put together for you based on these KPIs. And we have another one that I'm going to actually walk through how we're going to create this dashboard. So what I have here is a data grid that shows me all the complications reported by hospital and the type of complication and the counts of those complications, along with a comparison to the national average. And the same concept here. I have other visualizations, some donuts, a cylinder, and a progress bar that will tell me how am I doing across in terms of progress, in terms of how do I compare my score against the national. And here, what is the distribution of actual complications. And I can drill this down. I can go again to my same analysis. And I can say I want to see only Florida. As you can see, those numbers below are changing according to what I select. I want to also do the analysis based on Tampa. That's my region. That's where we live actually. And I can drill down to a specific hospital. I want to say I want to see Carlwood numbers and the hospital Tampa together, or just one of them. And I can see how my Carlwood is doing. Overall, 5,505 reported complications. I can see the breakdown of each complication here. And I can see some of the scores and metrics to compare against national average and to our internal benchmark. So what we're going to do now, and also if I wanted to, I can just drill down through a specific complication, and I can see how are we doing across Florida for a specific complication, right? So these are the numbers across that complication, and how does that compare to the average as well? So let's go ahead and create this dashboard. How easy it is to create it. So let's go back to our home, and you can see here there's nothing we can do here in terms of design. So that is the job for Datazen Publisher. So this is again a desktop application you installed on your Windows 10 device, laptop, desktop, or even your Surface. And this is where we have the ability to create dashboards. This is the button where we go and create dashboards. We have the ability to create a dashboard from scratch, or we can actually use an existing dashboard and modify it, and then take credit for the awesome dashboard that we created, right? We can actually utilize parts from existing dashboard. But let's go ahead and create a new dashboard from scratch. So this is the design area. You can define how many grids, how many columns, how many rows do you want in your dashboard. The default is 5 by 10. I'll just leave it like that for now. And what we're going to do is we want to create a grid chart. So it is a very simple grid chart. Let me find it. Simple data grid. All right. And let's expand it a little bit. Let's actually open it all the way up. So remember the paradigm of design first and data second. When as soon as I drag the data grid, you actually see data. And what's happening is that Datazen already has predefined data sets so that you can see actually how it looks and feels on your dashboard. And this data set, as you can see, if you go to the data view, is on this table called a simulated table. You can actually export this and say, hey, data set for dashboard. If I can type, for dashboard. And it will essentially generate an Excel file, which is this one, with that exact data set that you see there. So in this case, your ETL developers, your data warehouse developers will create a view or a table that will give you the data exactly as you need it, right? So that's one of the advantages of Datazen. Really, really cool. So let's continue with our design. So we want a grid here, and we want to slice or filter that data by a drop-down. So we have here what's called a selection list. And that selection list will be our states, right? Then
okay.
I was, yes.
Just to note that we got about 10 minutes left.
10 more minutes? Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to do the state and city for now. So we're going to add another section here, and this will be our city. All right. And I can actually see how that looks right at the back without anything else. I can check my progress, how that looks. And I can see that I have a selection here. I have another selection here. But I want these two selections to cast. Essentially, I want to filter cities by state. So, and also I want to make sure that as I select a state, the data down here is filtered. And then when I select a city, the data in my grid is further filtered. So what I'm going to do now is I want to go into my data view. And now I'm going to define what data will be connected to each of these components or visualization. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add data. And I can choose to select to a SQL Server or Analytics Services, SharePoint, and any other data source. Or I can choose Excel. Everybody loves Excel. I like Excel. So let's use Excel. And I have this spreadsheet called the Complications Hospital. Let's take a look at that really quick. That Complication Hospital, again, was downloaded from that Medicare.gov site. And it's actual data.
Real quick.
Yes.
We have another question. Is Datazen storing the data in memory or using a one-time load or constantly making calls to the database?
Very nice question. Very great question. So you can choose as an administrator to allow users to only interact with data coming out of the server directly. So every time they click on something, the data comes from the server. It's streamed to them from the server through a secure connection. And nothing is stored locally. Now, there's an option to allow users to cache the data, and that is a great feature if you have like sales representatives or sales managers that travel a lot, or executives that want to download the data to their iPad or to their smartphone before they go on a trip. So they can essentially bring the data offline down into the device and be available to interact with it offline as if they were actually connected. So you can allow or disallow each of those, that feature. All right. HIPAA. Max, can you talk about HIPAA? What are the implications on HIPAA and doing that?
Well, with HIPAA, everything's going to be driven by your security settings. So if you don't want certain people seeing certain data, then you wouldn't include it. You wouldn't have any PHI in a report that's going to be for your general population.
Right, and definitely you wouldn't want to allow users to download patient identifying information, due to privacy laws and all that. Definitely, that's a data set that could be restricted to not to be allowed to be downloaded for offline use. So yeah, so there's some consideration around HIPAA and PCI regulations that definitely you need to take into account. Most of these dashboards are summary or aggregate level data that's not patient identifying, most of it, right, for executives. But for some of the operational team members, there might be some data that has some patient information that you will need to put some governance and security around. So that's definitely a great question. All right, so this is the data set that we have. So essentially we have a hospital, we have the complication that they reported, the number of complications, and some scoring regarding to that compared to the national average. So I'm going to bring this data set. I'm going to close Excel because it needs to be closed. And I'm going to bring this data set into Datazen. Now, what I did is I broke down the data set into my main detailed data. I also broke down city and states into different worksheets. And essentially what I did is a deduplication of cities and copy that into another worksheet so that I can have a specific data set for my dropdowns. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to fill in state, and I'm going to say that it shouldn't use the simulated filter table, but it should use my states. And for now, it should use my abbreviation as my key and the state name as my label. So as you can see, we have abbreviation and state name. So it should use the state name as, a state abbreviation as the key. Then I want to populate my city dataset. In my city dataset should come from city, and I only have and city should be the actual label and key for now. All right. So let's take a look at how it looks currently. So we're going to go to my preview, and I should be able to see the list of states and the list of cities. There we go. So we have a list of states. If I click Florida, let's see what happens. Ooh, I see a lot of cities that are not from Florida. So what we need to do next is we need to connect city and state. So the first thing is you need to specify that state should filter out city using the state column. So you see we have the state column under the city dataset. And then on the city dataset, you need to specify that this is being filtered by state, which is already checked. So let's see how that works. So now let's filter on Florida, and that should filter cities only for Florida. Now, how am I sure that these are Florida? Well, let's see. Let's change this filter, instead of being a simple list, to be a tree. And let's see how it looks. So as you can see, if I select, I'm sorry, I forgot to define something really quick. So I need to go here, and I define this as a tree. So now I have another option available under city that says, what is my key? What is my parent? In this case will be state, and then my label of my leaf members will be city. So let's take a look at how that looks. So if I look at city, now I can see my cities grouped by state, right? So these are my Arizona, my Arkansas. So let's filter for Florida, and let's see. Now I can only see cities that belong to Florida, right?
We have another question.
Yes.
Is Datazen considered the on-premise version of Power BI, basically?
No, not really. I mean, Datazen is now a contributor, a key player to Power BI. Power BI is always going to be kind of this separate delivery platform. Datazen, you can think about this, don't quote me, but you can think of it as the replacement of Performance Point, your on-premise dashboarding tool. Power BI has a lot more capabilities and functionality that Datazen has or will have. It is mainly the audience. The target audience are totally different. Let me just say that. Target audience for Power BI is for self-service analysis, self-service insight. Datazen is more for dashboarding, and KPI. These are static pieces of information that are repeatedly consumed by your managers and executive team primarily. It's not a ad hoc tool per se. Self-service BI tool is more of a dashboarding tool than anything else. So if you would think about what should this replace, this might replace Performance Point. As a matter of fact, we have a couple of customers which we did, several projects around Performance Point. And of course, Performance Point has not been enhanced since 2013. They're actually going to start a new project coming up May, actually. We're going to move all those Performance Point dashboards that are kind of dull and boring into a more interactive and nicely into Datazen. The nice thing about Datazen is that you can embed it with SharePoint as an iframe. So there's also some web parts that you can use to embed some of these widgets or visualizations directly into a web part, into a site. So it is very cool because now you have really nice, rich, interactive dashboards that you can embed in SharePoint. All right. Okay, so the last thing we're gonna do, we got like 5 minutes or less. I'm just gonna define what my data grid should use. So in this case, I select my data grid. And then I will say that my data grid should use my complication details, and that it should, and you see that there's no filters available. So we have to go back to the actual filters and specify that this data set filters my complication details data set using state. I also need to specify that city also filters my complication details data set using the city column. And then finally, on my data grid, I need to specify that it is, or make sure that it's already checked as filtered by state and city. So let's run that really quick. And right now those data sets are populating those components, and I should be able to filter the data accordingly. Sometime soon. Come on. Yeah. So decided not to work for some reason. So let's, yeah, everything looks good. Let's try one more time, see what's going on with my local server. It's not cooperating. I think we have a couple more questions. Well, Datazen just folding into reporting services and Power BI. It is not 100% clear what the direction is. A lot of speculation has been drawn around Datazen, and that primarily it would just be used for reporting services Power BI. So yes, that is kind of the general understanding, but you can use Datazen as a standalone product to, like I said, to replace Performance Point, which is one of the archaic or old tools that are still around and a lot of people don't like. And it's also a great replacement if you have like Tableau or ClickView or any other third-party visualization tool that you're paying hefty licensing around. You can easily use this product right off the bat if you have the licensing. All right, so unfortunately it's not cooperating with me, but you get the idea, how things interconnect around each other. And one quick something quick that I wanted you to show you is if you want to see a lot of the richer demos that have been created by the Datazen team, you can go to demos.datazen.com. And you can, the password is Datazen, user is Datazen, password is Datazen as well. And you can see all of these nice, rich dashboards that are out there and all the nice interactivity that is built. One of the nice features that I like about Datazen is the ability to create your own maps. So not only it comes with maps, with geographical maps, but also you can create your custom shapes that you can use to see where all the different parts of your, yeah, in this case, your airplane parts, right, can be used. So it has a lot of those dashboards, interactivity working. And as you can see, also the regular mapping that you can use, your geographical mapping, to plot all your sales or metrics in bubble charts, or also they have heat maps. And you can bring and add your own custom map. So you have slicers that are time-based. You can use other components to be a slicer itself. So really, really nice, rich interactivity. And then one of the last things, of course, that I wanted to show you is the ability to design or redesign this dashboard. Come on, some reason my server decided to stop cooperating. You can simply turn this into a, let me get this down here. You can simply turn this into a desktop version, into a tablet version by just selecting a different screen size and platform. And it will rearrange the data grid or your grid into more of a tablet format or a smartphone screen size. And you should be able to see the same, you can drag and drop, for example, city, state, and then your data grid, and you can rearrange it to fit that size, right? So if we do a preview on the smartphone, you should see a kind of a mock-up of the phone, and I should be able to see in this phone the interactivity I had on my regular desktop. Unfortunately, something's happening that's not rendering it. Let's do this really quick. So let's use the see if the filters are causing this to. Okay. Well, some reason it's not letting me render something with my server here, but you get an idea about being able to design on a one format and be able to change it to another format just by rearranging, not having to redesign your dashboard, and simply dragging and dropping your existing dashboard components and rearranging it into whatever format you want, tablet or smartphone, for example. In this case, it will be a tablet that I can make it bigger, and I can put my filters wherever I want, and then I can do a preview of how it would look in my tablet, right? Granted that the data will render, but that is the paradigm shift in terms of Datazen, the ability to design once and deploy to many other formats. So that's pretty much it in terms of the demo. You can download those data sets in the data.medicare.gov. There's a lot of good healthcare information and data sets there. So now we're open to questions. If anybody has any questions, we're happy to stand by and answer those questions.
Yeah, we do have a statement that it feels a lot like Power BI, which is also used for persistent visualizations as well.
Correct.
You want to comment on?
Correct. So the Microsoft is bringing their mobile BI experience and their dashboarding experience together under the same user experience, the same look and feel across. Datazen being one of their main strategies to for their new type of visualizations. And you can actually pin some of those visualizations to your Power BI directly So yes, it is more, everything will revolve around Power BI. All the products, tools that Microsoft acquires or develops will be will revolve around Power BI and will have the same look and feel. At least that is the story that has been um, thrown out there. And from what it seems on the risk candidate of SQL Server 2016, it seems that everything is very cohesive, same design development experience from Datazen to Power BI desktop to Power BI Excel reporting services. So everything has the same or very similar user experience, both for the developer but also for the consumer of the data. So I agree. It will look very similar because that is by design.
Any other questions? Anyone want to send it for the question applet that is part of the webinar? Doesn't look like we're getting anything else.
All right. So I just wanted to let anybody know that we are gonna be doing additional webinars. So just if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, Max will send out an email if you want to sign up to get alerts of any new webinars. Also, that we will be happy to help you deploy, configure Datazen, either as a proof of concept of any other project that you're currently involved or are looking into. So we do consulting at any stage of a data warehouse or BI project from ground up. So we can create a brand new data warehouse from the ground up for you, or take over or help you come assist you getting an existing project off the ground and out into production. We work, like we mentioned earlier, with a lot of the Microsoft BI stack. That's kind of our bread and butter. But we also have worked on projects where we actually deploy, configure, use, and implement business objects, MicroStrategy, Tableau, ClickView, and so many other visualization tools. So thank you for joining us. Anything else, Max?
Yeah, we're available to come to your office for a private presentation and proof of concept for your decision makers. And we're able to help you set up, deploy, develop, and train your team on Datazen. We have, the webinar's coming up. Connect with us on LinkedIn, connect with us on Twitter, and anything else that we can do to help you, let us know.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great one.